everybody, good evening. I'm just going to mute that so that I don't get booted off Facebook and take my jumper off quickly because I was cold. This is not spring. I feel very ripped off the fact that we're in November and it's 18 degrees. I feel ripped off. But hello, I'm Laura. We are doing a stemless watermelon glass tonight from start to finish. The only part that I won't be showing you tonight is when I spray painted the cup, which I've already done. So we're going to start with one glass, and then once we've glittered and epoxied and all of that, I have another one that I've spray painted over, and that's what we're going to use for the second part so that I can do it all tonight instead of dragging it out. So I'm just quickly finishing mixing up my epoxy. I am using 5 ml of art resin for this cup tonight. That's 2.5 ml part A and 2.5 of part B. So I'm just finishing mixing that up, but that's what we're doing tonight. So these are fun. I have a lot of fun making these. Basically the concept is, and I will show you in a second, is that the outside of this glass is going to be like a green inked wood grain effect. And then we're going to do like a geode where we rub some of the spots away, and then the inside, if you can see, is also a watermelon, right? But all of that is done from the outside of the glass, so there is no vinyl or glitter on the inside of the glass, but by the time you're finished you do have what appears to be a watermelon from the inside and out. So that's what we're doing today. I have a friend, so I'm going to smush him and move him out of the way. Okay, so we are doing this on stemless glasses tonight. You can do it on a stemmed wine glass and just do the same bit on the top of it, and then I suppose either do the inks or the green glitter the whole way down the stem. I've only ever done it on stemless glasses because they look sort of kind of like watermelons. Before we start, I'm just going to say hello to everybody. Hello Anna, hello Sonia, Charlene. I have an auntie Charles. Do you get called Charles? I have an auntie Charles, and she's the only person with the name Charlene I've ever met. So you must be a very awesome person to be called Charlene. Who else we got? Hi Lisa, hi Mel, hi Karen, Nicole's here, Julie's here, everybody's here. Hello everybody. And I figured out this time not to loop it. Anybody that saw my play tutorial a couple of weeks ago, for some reason it linked to the event and then posted the live in the event, and that's where the live stayed. So I didn't link it to the event tonight, so hopefully it's posting through the main page. So with my glasses, personal preference, you can go all the way to the top if you want to. I don't like doing that on my glasses. So just very quickly before we start, I'm going to show you, because I tape off, how I get my really straight lines to tape off. If you put your glass upside down, this is 12mm double-sided tape, right? It just so happens to be the right height that I want it, and this is just a washable marker, right? So if I lean the marker up against the tape and hold it against the glass, and I'm left-handed, so I'm trying to do this in a way where you'll see. If I spin the glass the whole 360 degrees, put it back on, you then get a really nice even line the whole way around. And that's what you can use to tape off. So I will tape off, and while I'm taping off, I will quickly explain to you how you do this. So we are, if you can see my watermelon seeds here, I've already cut them. If anybody would like me to post the file that I made for my watermelon seeds so that you don't have to try and figure out the size as well, I can post that in the files later on tonight. But basically all I did was searched for watermelon seed silhouette on Google, found a shape of watermelon seed that I like. It's not quite round, like it's a teardrop shape, but all the teardrop shapes that I was finding for it were a little bit too round. So I traced that teardrop and then stretched it out a little bit to get more of a watermelon seed shape. So you print out think this was a 3 by 3 inch square of vinyl, and I just filled the square. I've already used a couple of rows to do the cup that we're going to use for the second part, so you do get more than one cup out of the 3 by 3 inch cut. You put them all over the glass. Now I'm a little bit OCD with my patterns, so you will notice that I end up putting them more in a pattern than a random sequence. That's just my brain that works that way. But you put them all over the glass, then you put your glitter on. Now I'm going to be doing the epoxy method tonight. Here's my epoxy, quick thin hang method, and then we're going to use the glitter. You can use Mod Podge if you want to. Is it Nanetta? Nanetta, yes, I can put the file up afterwards, easy. You can use Mod Podge for this if you'd like. I have found the glitter that I'm using tonight is this pink pearl. Now this one I did get from an American supplier, but Danielle from DJ Designs has this pink pearl in stock as well. It's called Princess Poppy on her website, so I will update the description when I'm finished to include that. But if you want this, pearls are really pretty. Like, they're not super sparkly like metallics or iridescents, but they do have a sparkle to them. If I can get it to sparkle. But they're just, I think they're really classy, so I like using pearls. So we are using a pearl pink tonight. If you're using Mod Podge, you will have to do at least 2 coats, possibly 3 or 4, until you stop seeing your seeds from the other side. With this one, I had to do 2 coats. So I did the first coat using the epoxy method. When that had cured completely and I realized I needed another coat, I just used Mod Podge. So I Mod Podged over the glitter that was already on there because of the epoxy, waited for that to dry, and then I epoxied over it again so it was nice and smooth and ready to spray paint. But we will get to that. Now that my tape is on, I'm going to get it on my pool noodle so that I don't touch it anymore. And then we're going to spray it with alcohol. This is an old bottle. I just reuse this because it's got the spray, and I find that a lot easier to use than putting it on cloths all the time. But in there at the moment, I think it's the Artist Choice one, the 99% alcohol from Artist Choice. You can get that on eBay. So that gets rid of any oils or impurities, and especially my fingerprints. And then we are ready to go. So watermelon seeds. I apply mine. Now that I've just done that, I've realized I'm going to put my fingers all over it again anyway because I'm going to be rubbing, but that's okay. At least now it's clean for when we do our seeds. So I just place my seeds, I'd like to say randomly, but every time that I've done this, looking over it after I've finished, even though I thought I was doing it randomly, I always end up with the same sort of pattern. But putting the seeds on first, obviously once you glitter over the top of them, that's what gives the effect from the inside of a watermelon. Hi Samantha! What epoxy do you use? Tonight I use a couple of different ones. Tonight I am using Art Resin. Oh, there goes my silicone mixing cup. That's Art Resin. Right, I use 2.5 mils of the part A and 2.5 of part B to make 5 in total because I do not need a lot for the hang method. Even 5 mils I'm still going to have some left over. Art Resin is food safe and can be used on cups and glasses, but taping off is just my personal preference. I know a lot of people that do glitter all the way to the tops of their glasses. There is always debate about whether you should, but really in my opinion it just boils down to what you're comfortable with doing and what works best for you and your customer base. I think I've done maybe one in the entire time that I've done cups and glasses. I've had one customer that has specifically requested that I go all the way to the rim, so I did, because that's what she wanted. But yes, art resin is food safe. Do you use art resin for tumblers? I use 2 different epoxies. I use, well actually no, that's a lie. I use 3 different epoxies. I use a casting resin for when I do my coasters and my keychains and stuff like that. But for tumblers, I only use 2 different brands. I use art resin, and I do that for a lot of my glitter work or hang methods or quick coats. EX74, because at one stage it did become incredibly rare this year. So I may have stocked up a little bit on it, and I've cut right down with using it because I panicked a little bit that I couldn't get it anymore. But usually I use that for my top coats, like my flood coats. And I mean, they both, sorry, I went off on a tangent then. They both work for everything. That's just a preference of mine. I find that art resin flows a little bit better when you're doing stuff like marble effects or ink swirls. And EX, I just, it's got a UV inhibitor in it, so it stops it from going yellow. Prolongs that yellowing process just a little bit better. But B, EX74 has a really beautiful glassy, glossy finish to it, like crystal clear finish, which is why I prefer to use that for my top coats. But if you're starting out and you've never used resin before, now that things are starting to get back to normal a little bit more, if you can get your hands on Amazing Clear Cast by Aluminite, that is a very beginner friendly resin. So is art resin. I only started using art resin when I couldn't get Amazing Clear Cast this year, and now I actually prefer it. So it's just preference, finding one that works for you. But if you are just starting out, I do highly recommend Amazing Clear Cast, just because it is very user friendly and a lot of beginners use it. And we're almost done. Are the seeds you're putting on done on a Cricut machine? Catherine, I'm a Silhouette user. So these were done, I've got a Portrait 2 and a Cameo 3, I believe it's a 3. So I did this on my Silhouette machine. But yes, this is just a 3x3 inch square of black vinyl. I'm going to put, this is a file that I made myself. I just traced a watermelon seed off Google and then made it the shape and the size that I wanted, and you know, played around with a few different sizes. And then once I found the size that I wanted for my glasses, I just did rows and rows and rows of them. And then obviously it's really easy to weed. You just pull it up and you've got your watermelon seeds. But I will put that file up as a PNG image in the files section at the end of the live, and then you should be able to download it and just trace it from there. So, and these glasses, guys, these stemless glasses I got from Target. They are the teardrop ones. I just love the shape. I use these for everything. Oh, I forgot the butt. Oh no, can't forget the butt. But they're just a slightly, I want to say chubby. Are we allowed to say chubby? They're a bit hippier. They've got bigger hips than most other stemless glasses, and I just really like the shape of them. So I'm just going to quickly put a seed facing that way and a seed facing the other way, if I can get it off my finger. Okay, so now we've got them on the bottom as well. Okay, now we'll do the glitter. So I'm just going to spray this again to get my fingerprints off. Just a quick note while I think of it now, in case I forget while we're epoxying. If you do this using the hang method, please remember in about half an hour to pull your tape off. You don't want to leave your tape on overnight because you will not get it off the next day. And I'm super anal about my glitter. So I'm going to get my little drop sheet ready because I don't waste anything. So as always guys, if you're working with resin, especially if you're working with resin long term or for long periods in a day, make sure you have your safety gear organized. You will need a half face respirator mask that has the interchanging filters. I don't ever wear mine on alive, to be honest with you, unless I'm doing like 4 or 5 hours in my craft room where I'm working with resin. I don't really bother at the moment, and I know that that's very bad, but that's just me being lazy. But if you are working with it long term or for long periods, you do need a half face respirator mask. You also should be wearing eye goggles, which I don't do ever because it's the choice between wearing eye goggles or being able to see what I'm doing. So I just wear my glasses. I do have a half face mask that I use though. What else do you need? And gloves. So in all of my lives, you won't ever see me wearing my mask, but please, especially at the moment where we have a lot of other things trying to attack our respiratory systems, please take care of yourself and make sure that you mask up and glove up at the very least. So I'm going to just a really super thin coat of epoxy. We don't want it to run and we don't want it to move. The only purpose of putting epoxy on it this way is because I personally, when I do Mod Podge on a glass, like clear glass, for the life of me, I cannot get no brush strokes. That's just something that I fail at. So when I'm working with glass, even if it's only the bottom layer, I will always do the hang method. And then if it does need an extra coat like this one that we're working on later needed, I Mod Podged over that once it was cured, put my second coat of glitter on, let that dry entirely, and then I did a flood coat of glitter over that, which is a thick coat, a flood coat of epoxy over the glitter, which is a really thick coat of epoxy, just so it was nice and smooth for when it came time to spray painting. So that looks just about done. And out of 5 mils, I still have all of that left. Right, so that's what I mean by, well, like, my measuring cups won't let me make up anything less than 5 mil. So depending on how long this live goes, I may be able to use that for something else, or I may just have to cut my losses. But once you have your epoxy or your Mod Podge on, again, this one, DJ Design stocks one similar. It's called Princess Poppy. This one's actually from America, but why pay American prices and American shipping when you can get it from Australia? So I'm going to go ahead and glitter this, and then I will catch up on comments. I'll do the butt now before I forget. See how pretty that is? I love the pearls. I've got quite a few pearls in my collection now, and they have a completely different look to them. And sometimes the occasion just calls for it. Give that a tap. Whoops, sorry, didn't mean to knock you off then. Just going to use my scissors because they're a bit hardier. And then, right, so as you can see, you can still see the seeds coming through. So once this has cured, I will do another coat of glitter using Mod Podge. So I'll put Mod Podge all over the glass, I'll put the glitter on, wait for that to dry completely, and then do another flood coat on this one. Once the flood coat is on and has cured entirely, I will then spray paint it white. And once that's done, so glitter, second coat if you need it, once it's all encased in, and you've got your 2 coats or your 3 coats or your 6 coats, however many coats you need to get those seeds not so visible from the outside, you will need to do a flood coat of epoxy. Like even if you Mod Podge, once you've got all your glitter on, you do need that flood coat. Once that flood coat has cured completely, you spray paint it white, and that's where the next bit of the tutorial will step in. I'm just going to hang this up behind me real quick. Oh, if I can reach. I probably should have thought that through and had a drying rack over here. So sorry about that and my big butt. I've got so many boxes. All these boxes here, uneven craft stuff. That's all my kids' Christmas presents that I've got nowhere else to hide. So I've got boxes everywhere behind me at the moment. And movability. Is movability a word? Access to that table is getting very limited. So put my glitter away. And then we'll catch up on comments. How much would you sell something like that? My glasses, whether they be wine glasses, stemless glasses, beer glasses, whatever, I sell my glasses for $20 because that's the pricing range that, after a lot of trial and error, that's what my area will pay happily for a glass. I did try for $25 for a while and I didn't sell shit. So $20 is my price for my glasses. I am rural though, so you might have more luck in the city. The set of 2, because I'm going to sell them as a set of 2, I do for $35. So $20 each or $35 for the pair. But once you've got your spray paint, ta-da! So if you missed the beginning, that's what you have ended up with by the time you get to this point. So you've got your nice watermelon on the inside. I did untape and retape several times. I took off the tape when I did what we've just done. Then I taped around again and did another coat with Mod Podge, and then did the flood coat, and then peeled the tape off again. And then the third time I've taped now so that we could spray paint. So when you do tape up, make sure, because you don't want, I'll see if I can see that tiny little one. Oh, it's coming off the tape. That's what I was going to say. Oh no, the paint's not dry. I spray painted it yesterday. It's coming off the tape. That's okay. Anyway, back to what I was trying to explain. If you can see, where was it? Here. Excuse me. See that white line here? Right. If you're not really careful to match up your lines, you are going to see your white spray paint. Now, I am not too worried about that because that is only like the tiniest little smidge. But if it was like a huge big chunk, we'd have a problem. So when you're taping and retaping, make sure you're following the same lines until you're ready to do your final coat, which will come after the bit that we're doing now. I'm not going to put the final coat on it tonight, simply because I like to spray seal my inks. I like to let them sit and dry for a few hours, and then I spray seal them just for good measure. Obviously I can't do that at night time, so I'm going to let this dry overnight, and then tomorrow it'll get its final coat. But up to the final coat we're going to do on the live tonight, and then you're ready. You know all the steps, and you know that you just have to epoxy at the very end as well. If you wanted to, you could, these are the greens I'm using tonight. I'm doing the whole cup in Tim Holtz Mojito, and then I'm going through and adding smaller accents and lines here and there with Pinata's Rainforest Green. Now if you wanted to have only the ink on the outside and only the glitter on the inside, you would just go ahead and do your wood grain method or your ink method however you saw fit, and then it would be ready for spray sealing and then your final coat of epoxy. I actually like rubbing away little bits. Can you motorbikes? That's weird. I like to rub away little bits like the walk in the park cups so that the glitter shows up from underneath. And then my leftover seeds, I put a seed here and there, right? And then the rest of it's done. So what we're going to do first is rub away some spots. I'm using acetone and alcohol tonight. And I don't want it, because I want the inside of the glass to be good, not sealing over the ink cause fish eyes. In my experience, Sonia, no, I've never had fish eyes because I didn't seal the ink. What I have had is all of, or a lot of, the pigment lift out of the ink so that it goes like a good 3 or 4 shades lighter. So I make sure that I always spray seal my inks. I let them dry for hours, overnight or half a day if I can, and then I spray seal, and then I let that dry for at least 3 or 4 hours, and then I epoxy. But no, spray, not sealing inks in my experience has never given me fish eyes. I don't know if it has for some people, but it's more the pigment lifting out of the inks when the epoxy hits it that seems to be my problem. So that's just a bit of acetone that I got from Bunnings. I'm just going to rub away a tiny bit. You see it's still got spray paint on it. That's what the alcohol is for. We're going to clean that up. Trying to think. I think I want my design to sit here. So we'll rub. Or maybe we won't. Okay, now we will. Spot there. See some spots. So I'm just sorry, I should do it in frame, shouldn't I? Okay, I want a big one at the back here. Oh, just stay on. Bring that up a little bit more. Just going to change my paper towel. So I don't want too much pink on the outside because I want the inside to be the real wow factor for the pink. Just a little sneaky peek on the outside, and then I've left this gap here to put something. Depends on my mood. Oh, I have paint all over my fingers. How's everybody's week been so far? How's everybody's Halloween? Did anybody do anything for Halloween? What spray sealer do I use? Catherine, I am very loyal to my Rust-Oleum 2 times. I will not use anything else if I can. If I do have to use anything else, I use the Krylon that you can get from Spotlight. but Rust-Oleum 2 times you can get from Bunnings. And I prefer the satin, but if I can't get satin, I get gloss. Okay, so new piece of paper, and back to my alcohol. If I go back over, try that again. If I go back over with a little bit of force, just stay on. Squick. I can clean that right up. It does take a little bit more work with alcohol than it does with acetone. I'm a little bit heavy-handed with everything, and I start to panic that I might be a bit heavy-handed with the acetone. So I only get myself to a certain point. Sorry, I know this is shaking the table and the camera. I get it to a point where I'm comfortable with how it looks, and then I go back over with my alcohol. See? It's from dull to shiny. Just take a little bit more elbow grease, which is fine if you're alone and you don't have 20 odd people watching you. But please enjoy my facial expressions. I shouldn't have done that because we're about to use alcohol inks. That's why I was putting it on the paper. I just remembered. That's right. It's okay. Okay, so I do it this way. Did we do that one? No, we didn't. That's okay. And I just did it again. The reason why I'm putting my spots on first and then going through and doing my wood grain is because for me it is a lot easier to get alcohol and a Q-tip and wipe the green alcohol ink off the epoxy than it is to do all of the ink work, go through with your acetone and rub away, and then take all the ink with it so that you've got white spots. And it can be really tricky to fix if I know that watermelons have a little bit of white in the skin anyway, but this becomes like a big white mark. So that's why I do it this way. But once you've got your watermelon spots, and at the end, once we clean them, we are going to go through and add a seed to some of them. And you clean it with alcohol, or if you don't want any spots at all and you just want to do the ink, this is how I do my inks. So if you didn't see my first tutorial that I ever did with the wood grain peekaboo where I was breaking all of the glasses, same idea. Really crappy old scratchy paintbrush, right, like a paintbrush that you were considering throwing away. I'm going to give it a new life, and we're going to start with Mojito, and I should be wearing gloves, but we'll see. Should be right. I do a line of ink, and then I work that ink into the cup with smooth top to bottom motions until the ink starts to dry. And because you've used a really scratchy paintbrush, you get that really scratchy brush effect. And that's your watermelon skin. So now we do that the whole way around. This is what I mean about the ink going over. That's okay, we can clean that up later. It's no issue at all. See? Watermelon. That might be showing my age a bit actually. So is that from the whole top to bottom? If you do little bits like that, it doesn't look as nice. You've got to have that whole, I want to say long stroke motion, but that doesn't sound right. But that's what I mean, right? You want to have that brush stroke from top to bottom to get that effect. Now we're almost done, guys. I tried to condense it down as much as I could so that you could still see the whole process, but I also wasn't taking up like 2 days of your time. So if you do have any questions or you need something explained further, please drop in the comments. I will get notifications because I'm the one that's posting the live. I will continue to get notifications every time someone comments on this live until the end of times. So even if you are watching this and it's been a couple of years, I'm still going to get the notification. Just let me know. And I'd be happy to explain. In the group, if you didn't see, it's in the announcements section. I have put up a post for you to request your tutorials all in one thread. This is just going to be easier for us to track instead of asking you in the live what you'd like to see next time. It's just easier for the admin team to track what everybody is interested in if it's all on the one thread. So if you would like to see anything, doesn't just have to be cups. I'm pretty crafty. If I get a request for something that I can't do, I will either learn it or I will find somebody else that does it. The only exception to that is Milky Ways. I can't do a Milky Way to save myself. But it's looking like Anna might be able to. So I nominate Anna for a Milky Way tutorial. But otherwise, leave your requests. I will be going live again in here. I think it's the 17th of November, 2 Tuesdays from now. I'm going to be showing you how to do an offset using both Inkscape and Silhouette Design Studio, and then importing it from there into your Cricut design space. Now, I am a Silhouette user. I have the privilege of having my offsets built into my program. But because I did do a lot of lives for a Cricut group previously, I have learnt how to do offsets in Inkscape to be able to do a tutorial for that. And then more recently, people came up with the idea, because the Silhouette software is free, they've been downloading the Silhouette software, doing the offset in there, saving it as a screenshot, and then just tracing it in the design space. So that's what I'm going to be showing you, so that you guys can learn how to do offsets even if you have a Cricut. And then after that, I think we're getting some requests for a fabric cup, which I can do. I fucking hate fabric cups, but I'll do it. We can do it. And I also do have, and I think it was a girl in one of the Australian groups, actually, a very, very long time ago, came up with a template for a 16 ounce. So I use her template, but I've just resized it for 20 ounce cups. So I will share, I will find out where I got that from, and I will share that with you guys when we do the fabric cup. So I'm just going in with my darker green now and doing exactly the same technique. Right. And then before it dries, I want to go in and be a bit more scratchy, and that just blends it in a little bit better. So then, oh, I forgot the butt. Hang on. I always forget the butt unalive. I did, Nicole. Always. It's only ever unalive. Okay, so I did that exactly the same way, right? Scratchy, scratchy. And I just go back and forth. Steam frame wire, back and forth like that until it stops to moving, right? So then you got the bottom. So my darker green, I prefer to do in thirds. So if my dark is here, the next space around will be between these two here. And again, same up and down motion that we were doing before. And then before it dries, I want to put a little bit more pressure so that you end up with a blend. Okay, so then the last is just up next to this one here. And if nobody minds, I'm going to put this one on YouTube. This video tonight on YouTube. Just to add to my collection. And I was trying to do something real fancy where I was trying to get, oh no. I was trying to get the chat box to pop up on my screen for replay as well. But it wanted me to turn my two-step sign in off, and I'm not prepared to do that because I'm paranoid. So we missed out on our fancy chat box, but that is our watermelon. My design's going to sit in here. No, that goes there, that goes on here. And I usually have little alcohol wipes, like the little square medical alcohol wipes that you can get from Coles. But I ran out today. So they're on my shopping list. Okay, so this is just alcohol and a bit of paper towel. And go back over and just clean up our spots from before. And trying not to go too far around the outside, but you want to do it enough so that it looks, see if that can come up, see how it's just a little bit lighter like the rind. Right, so I'm going to clean up this spot as well and just go very gently around the very edge. That one, it shows up a little bit more. See how it's a bit lighter? More alcohol. Going around the outside again. Like 2 Trailer Park Girls. Now that's showing my age. That reference, if anybody caught that. That's showing my age. I would have been in, oh Lord, 7th or 8th grade, I reckon, when that song came out. Oh, the good old days. At what age can you start referring to the good old days? Because I'm in my early 30s and I feel like I say that a lot already. Nice little spot down here. So there is our cleaned up watermelon. That's really dark. think I'm going to go through and put some of the mojito into it. See if we can break that up a little bit. There you go, that looks a little bit better. Just don't want it so... I don't want to spray it because then that's just going to ruin the rest of my hard work. So I'm just going to stop playing with it. And hope that when I spray seal it, it lightens up just a little bit. I'm going to put that down for 1 second just while I clean up. And then the final step before you put your final coat of epoxy on, once you hit 20, I reckon that sounds good. That was, yeah, that was over a decade ago. That passes. Okay, so my little seed there. I'm gonna put one down the bottom of this one. In the middle of this one. I'm going to put two on this big one at the back, one facing in that direction and one facing in that direction. One in the middle of this one. And I think that is all we've got. And we are left with, I'm just going to quickly clean up where the ink went through the tape here. Our watermelon glass from the outside and the inside. So once this is completely dry, I would have left the tape on. Once this is completely dry, I will put more tape on. Spray seal it. Once the spray seal is dry, I'm going to untape it. I'm then going to move and retape just a little smidge, like maybe 0.25 of an inch up from the line and tape from there, so that when I do my flood coat, I have a really nice thick seal on it, so that no water or anything's going to get up underneath my epoxy, and then it will be ready to market. So I am with the one that is now, where is it? Here behind me. I will do exactly the same with that, and then I will sell it as a set of two with some design on it. But that is the watermelon cups from start to finish. Put that there, because isn't that pretty? And again, this glitter, you can get one very, very similar. It is a pearlescent glitter, so it's not, I'll try and get it up. It's not super, no, I can't. It's not super sparkly like a metallic or an iridescent, but here that's better. But it does have this really pretty pearly effect to it. I just love it. I love my pearls. So that is, you can get it. It's called Princess Poppy from DJ Designs. So I will put the link for that in the description once I jump off. But does anybody have... Hi Lind, we're just finishing off, but the replay will be up soon. Basically what we have done, I'll run through it really quickly for the final time and then I will jump off. These black seeds on the inside are actually on the outside. So what we did from the beginning of the glass is we prepped our glass, we put the black vinyl seeds on the glass, then I did the hang method with epoxy and put my pink glitter on. once that cured, I realized I needed a second coat, so I Mod Podged it, put another coat of glitter on, let that dry entirely, and once I'd gotten to that stage, I put a really nice thick flood coat of epoxy on. Once that was cured, I spray painted it white. You didn't see me spray paint. Everything is in the replay, except for the spray painting part. So flood coat, once the flood coat was cured, I spray painted it white. From there, we've done our green wood grain, right? And our geode and our seeds, and now this is ready for its final coat. But that is what it looks like from inside and out. And they're just really fun. Summer cups. So that is all I have. My pleasure, Anna. Anytime. Make one. These glasses are from Target and they're $2 each. So, I mean, I know you can get cheaper glasses, but I just love the shape of these. And for watermelons, they really work. So they're the teardrop, I believe they're called teardrop tumblers. And they're $2 each. But I buy the box, like they come in boxes of 6. And I just walk away with the whole box. I don't split them up, but you can buy them individually if you want to. Yes. If you are watching, what spray paint do I use? Charlene, on this one, I prefer to use Australian Export, which you can get from Super Cheap. I used the matte white on this one. I don't like using gloss. But the Rust-Oleum Paint and Prime from Bunnings works really well as well if you don't have a Super Cheap near you. Otherwise, thank you so much, guys. I will be back in 2 Tuesdays' time. We are doing, as I've already mentioned, I'm going to teach you how to do, for all of you Cricut users, how to do an offset. I'm going to teach you how to do it in Inkscape. Sometimes people have a little bit of trouble with Inkscape because there is a lot of back and forth with working with paths. So I'm going to show you how to do it in Inkscape if you want to attempt it. Otherwise, I'm going to show you how to do it in the Silhouette Design program. It is a free software. A lot of Cricut users are now downloading that to do all of their design work in, and then exporting that over into Design Space. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that as well, so everybody can start working on their offsets. Otherwise, I will see you guys in 2 weeks' time. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I really hope you enjoy the rest of your week. It is my birthday on Monday, so next time that you see me, I'm going to be older and wiser. Alright guys, enjoy your night. See you later. Bye!